Introducing the 10 frame, the ultimate math manipulative for young learners. With its simple design, the 10 frame helps children visualize numbers and understand fundamental number concepts. From counting to addition and subtraction, the 10 frame makes learning math engaging and fun.
I love using 10 frames with my grade 1s. They provide a hands-on learning experience that engages the students and promotes active participation in mathematical tasks. By using counters or objects on the frames, students can practice counting, subitizing, and developing number sense in the context of 10. I can also use them as a diagnostic tool to assess their number concept development. Overall, it is an effective tool for supporting early numeracy.
My son is in kindergarten, and we love using 10 frames at home with him. It is the perfect visual and hands-on learning tool and gets him excited about math. He has been practicing making 10 and has been experimenting with bigger numbers too.
Whether in the classroom or at home, the 10 frame is the perfect tool for building a strong foundation for mathematics. Order your 10 frames today and receive a set of counters for free. Check us out at funmath10frames.com or call 1-800-FUN-MATH.
What is a 10 frame? A 10 frame is a rectangular frame that is divided into 2 rows of 5 boxes, creating 10 total boxes. Each box in the 10 frame represents one unit. Counters or other manipulatives can be used to place in each box of the 10 frame to count. Composing and decomposing numbers in different ways on the 10 frame prompts students to visualize the numbers that are being represented and helps students to recognize the importance of using 10 as an anchor when adding or subtracting.
10 frames are typically used with students in kindergarten and early elementary grades to support their understanding of numbers up to 10. It is an essential tool in supporting students while teaching Strand B in the early grades. When using a 10 frame horizontally, fill the top row first, starting on the left side. Once the top row is full, place counters in the bottom row, also from left to right. By filling the top row first, students are shown that a full row is equal to 5 without having to count them first. 10 frames provide a visual representation of a number and show its value in the context of 10. They help children develop a deeper understanding of numbers instead of just memorizing their order. Working with numbers in a 10 frame, children can then see the amount of dots/counters that a number stands for, which helps students to build their number sense. 10 frames also help students with other math skills such as number bonds, subitizing, and addition and subtraction. John Vandewall, a math educator and researcher, suggests that students should first be introduced to 5 frames. After using 5 frames, 10 frames can then be introduced. 5 frames and 10 frames help students see number relations and develop mathematical reasoning strategies to quickly see relationships between numbers in the context of 10. Vandewall also states that there are 3 relationships that students should develop with numbers 1 through 10, all of which can be explored and reinforced through using 10 frames. The first relationship is 1 and 2 more, 1 and 2 less. This relationship involves more than just the ability to count on 1 or 2 or count back 1 or 2. It requires students to understand that, for example, 8 is 1 more than 7 and 2 less than 10. Through using 10 frames and physically moving counters from one box to another, students can see the change in quantity and understand the effect of adding or subtracting 1 or 2. The next relationship is benchmark numbers 5 and 10. 5 frames and 10 frames are the most common model for exploring the benchmark numbers 5 and 10. Relating other numbers to 5 and 10, for example, 7 as 2 more than 5 and 3 less than 10, helps students to develop an understanding of number magnitude, to learn basic addition and subtraction facts, and to acquire number sense and operational sense. 10 frames provide a clear visual representation of numbers up to 10 with 2 rows of 5 boxes each. Students can see that a completely filled 10 frame represents the number 10, while a completely filled row represents the number 5. The final relationship is part-part-whole relationships. The ability to think of numbers as part-part-whole relationships is critical to developing number sense. By using different colored counters, students can compose and decompose numbers into 2 or more parts and visualize this on the 10 frame. For example, students can see that the number 9 can be represented as 5 and 4 more, or 5 plus 4, since the top row is completely filled and the bottom row has 4 counters.
How do 10 frames support student learning in a tangible way? The 10 frame is an interactive and hands-on tool that allows students to physically manipulate counters or other objects of their choosing within the frame to prove their understanding. It allows students to visualize numbers mentally and to develop strategies to understand the relationships. The 10 frame supports student learning in a tangible way by helping students understand one-to-one correspondence, subitizing, counting on, and counting back, and addition and subtraction. It is an interactive math tool for young learners as they can manipulate it in a different way using a counting tool of their choice and to prove their understanding. How do 10 frames support SEL skills? 10 frames support social emotional learning skills by allowing students to think critically and creatively about 10 frames. Students can select 10 frames as their tools and use different strategies to investigate mathematical ideas and solve problems. 10 frames are a tool that supports the students' learning of math concepts and skills. This will foster their ability to learn and help them build resilience and thrive as math learners. Assessing 10 frames. 10 frames will assess if children can combine single-digit numbers by reorganizing them into a 10 and leftovers. If they can subtract from numbers up to 20, note 10 plus any number from 1 to 10, describe 10 as a single entity. We can assess students using 10 frames by using checklists, exit tickets, worksheets, partner activities, online resources such as Toy Theater's 10 frame game. What activities can we do using a 10 frame? 5 frame tell about, number medley, 10 frame flash.
In the 5-frame tell-about activity, explain that only one counter is permitted in each square of the 5-frame. Have the children, for example, show 3 on their 5-frame mat. Ask, what can you tell me about 3 from looking at your mat? After hearing from several children, try other numbers from 0 to 5. Children may place their counters on the 5-frame in any manner. What they observe will differ a great deal from child to child. For example, with 4 counters, a child with 2 on each end may say it has a space in the middle or it's 2 and 2. There are no wrong answers with the initial placements. Focus attention on how many more counters are needed to make 5 or how far away from 5 a number is. Next, try numbers between 5 and 10. The rule of 1 counter per section still holds. Numbers greater than 5 are shown with a full 5 frame and additional counters on the mat but not on the frame. In discussion, focus attention on these larger numbers as 5 and some more. 8 is 5 and 3 more, for example.
For the game number medley, this is where all children make the same number on their 10 frame. The teacher calls out a random number between 0 and 10. After each number, the children change their 10 frame to show the new number. Children can play this game independently by preparing a list of about 15 crazy mixed up numbers. One child plays the teacher and the rest use the 10 frames. So for example, if the teacher was to call out 5, the student would put 5 counters on their 10 frame, and then they would clear it. And if the teacher called out 4, they would put 4 on their 10 frame, and then clear it.
In the 10-frame flash activity, you would flash 10-frame cards to the class and see how fast the children can tell how many dots are shown. This activity is fast-paced, takes only a few minutes, can be done at any time, and is a lot of fun if you encourage speed. If you would like to differentiate, there are a few important variations of the activity. Saying the number of empty spaces on the card instead of the number of dots, saying one more than the number of dots, saying the 10 fact, for example, 6 and 4 equals 10, or saying the sum by adding the flashed card to a card that they have at their desk.
Thank you for learning about 10 frames with us.